We'll go ahead and call this meeting of our Ridgecrest City Council to order here at 6:02 p.m. I apologize for the delay. For anybody speaking tonight, I have had a request from a citizen to make sure that you please do speak into the microphone so they can pick you up on YouTube, that some people are dropping out. If I can go ahead and call the meeting to order, roll call.
Mayor Bruin?
Here.
Mr. Blades on the phone?
Present.
Mr. Rajaratnam?
Present.
Mr. Heyman?
Present.
Ms. Breeden?
Present.
5 present. We have a quorum.
Okay, next item is the approval of our agenda. Is there any amendments or revisions to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, do I have a motion for approval of the agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Roll call.
Mayor Bruin?
Aye.
Mr. Blades?
Aye.
Mr. Rajaratnam?
Aye.
Mr. Heyman?
Aye.
Ms. Breeden?
Aye.
5 ayes. Motion carries.
Okay, if I can ask everyone to please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Chief? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Councilman Rajaratnam?
Please join me in prayer if you would. Lord, thank you for giving us this day. Lord, thank you for this lovely city which we live in, Lord. Thank you for the wonderful people we move around and we cherish to live with. Lord, I pray for our country. Give the leadership your guidance. Pray for the troops who are in harm's way. Protect them from all evil. Lord, I pray for our police department. Lord, as they protect this community, Lord, give them your protection. Guide them in their jobs and protect all their families, Lord. I pray for the city council, Lord, as we discuss many issues. Lord, give your wisdom to us so that our decisions will do good to this community. Bless each one of us here today. In Jesus' precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen. So we have 2 presentations this evening. We're going to go ahead and begin with our service award presentation. And if I could ask the members of the council to join me at the podium.
Thank you, everybody, for coming tonight. Special honor for Tony Brown, Sergeant Tony Brown. 32 years in law enforcement is quite an accomplishment. I've had the pleasure. Tony was my FTO, one of them. Then we worked narcotics together, and so he's been a mentor to me for the past 20-some years. So very special to make sure that we honor him with this 32 years, because that's definitely not the norm to hit that milestone. In fact, Ron and Tony are the only 2, I think, that have gone that many years here with the city, and that is quite a feat. So Sergeant Tony Brown, 32 years.
First of all, I'd like to thank my law enforcement family. If it wasn't for these guys here, keeping me young, keeping me going, I'd probably been retired long ago. Also to my family, my 4 kids, Anthony, Joe, Kayla, Brandon, and my grandkids, my wife Janie, son-in-law Kyle. I appreciate you guys putting up with everything you had to put up with for such a long time. I still call him Chief Strand. Appreciate everything you taught me. I mean, Ron and I, we worked narcotics together. It's been a fun ride. I mean, I've been here over half my life, and retirement's around the corner, and I can say that I probably won't miss the job the way things are going, but I'll miss the family, the people. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I get a sneaking suspicion there might be some officers that want to take a picture with them. I don't know why I get that idea, but the lineup is proof enough, right? Chief. How are you?
You all right? You get scared?
Can you? I'll take a picture like that.
I got the AED in my back pocket.
Okay. Councilman Rajaratnam is going to present the proclamation.
Okay, a proclamation of the City of Ridgecrest, California, recognizing Ridgecrest School Choice Week. Whereas all children in Ridgecrest should have access to the high-quality education possible, and whereas Ridgecrest recognizes the important role that an effective education plays in preparing all students in Ridgecrest to be successful adults, and whereas quality education is critically important to the economic viability of Ridgecrest, and whereas Ridgecrest is home to a multitude of high-quality public and non-public schools from which parents can choose for their children, in addition to families who educate their children in the home, and whereas Educational variety not only helps to diversify our economy, but also enhances the vibrancy of our community. And whereas Ridgecrest has many high-quality teaching professionals in all types of school settings who are committed to educate our children, and whereas School Choice Week is celebrated across the country by millions of students, parents, educators, schools, and organizations to raise awareness of the need for effective educational options. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed, we, the City Council of the City of Ridgecrest, do hereby recognize January 23 to 29, 2022 as Ridgecrest School Choice Week and call this observance to the attention of all our citizens. Proclaimed this 19th day of January 2022, signed by Mayor Eric Brun, Mayor Pro Tem Scott Heyman, Vice Mayor Solomon Rajaratnam, Council Member Kyle Blades, Council Member Peggy Breeden. And receiving this proclamation is...
Is there anybody else from Realms here? So here's the humorous for everyone out there on YouTube land. I still serve as the chairman for Ridgecrest Elementary Academy for music, science, and language. And our executive director, Miriam Hogue, contracted COVID on Tuesday. And obviously she's not going to be here to receive the proclamation. So as chairman, I will accept the proclamation on behalf of Realms, but it's a weird situation. So that's why I had somebody else read it. Thank you, and thank you to the council. Okay. No picture for me. No, I got enough pictures. On to business of the day. Because I couldn't get a board member or an executive if I tried. So I'll deliver it to Miriam. Rick will tell you that proclamations is something I'm still learning how to work out.
You're getting there. You're doing fine.
Getting there. Okay. Once again, congratulations to Sergeant Brown. Thank you for your service to this community on behalf of the entire community. And I know retirement's around the corner, but we wish you the obvious very best, and thank you. Next on our agenda is public comment of items not on the agenda. Any person wishing to address the council on matters that are within the council's jurisdiction and do not already appear on the agenda may do so at this time. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the City Council may not take any action on any item that does not appear on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 5 minutes, and the public comment section of this agenda is limited to a total of 1 hour. Speakers are asked to provide his or her name. Do I have any speakers on the floor? Seeing none, do I have any speakers on the phones? I'm going to give it just a moment to allow for an opportunity to dial in. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on. Next item on the agenda is council announcements. Do we have any council announcements? Peggy, no? Scott?
One announcement, Economic Outlook Conference, February 24th. Mayor Bruin is one of the speakers, and the keynote speaker is Dr. Mark Schneep. So he spoke last couple of years. So he's going to continue and give updates on what's happening during the last 1 year. So that's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. I oddly don't have anything specifically that I think was a council announcement. No. So it comes back around to council comments. Okay, next item on the agenda is our consent calendar. We have 3 items on our consent calendar today. All items listed on the consent are considered to be routine and non-controversial by the city staff. Consent items may be approved in one motion if no member of the council or audience wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is desired by anyone, the item will be pulled and removed from the consent agenda and considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the council of the public to address the council concerning the item before action is taken. Each item as read is number 3, proposed action to approve draft minutes of the Ridgecrest City Council regular meeting dated January 5th, 2022. Item number 4 is appointment to City Selection Committee. And item number 5 is proposed action to approve a resolution of the Ridgecrest City Council authorizing officer or agent to accept and consent to recordation of deeds or grants. Does any member of the council wish to have any item removed? Hearing none, is there any member of the public which wishes to have an item pulled? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion for approval of the consent calendar as presented.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Roll call.
Mayor Bruin.
Aye.
Mr. Blades.
Aye.
Mr. Rajaratnam.
Aye.
Mr. Heyman.
Aye.
Ms. Braden.
Aye.
5 ayes, motion carries.
And just for those who didn't catch that, we just updated a resolution from 1974. Okay, next item is item number 6. Discussion and possible action regarding letter of support, white paper for proposed National Defense Authorization Act, amendments related to wastewater treatment facility. Mr. Strand.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. What I have before you here is a letter that I wish to send forward to both the House and Senate Armed Services Committee from the Council requesting certain changes to the National Defense Authorization Act in regards to the Defense Community Infrastructure Program, which is a program of the Department of Defense. This program is designed to provide infrastructure support mission to communities that surround U.S. military installations. Now, what the issue here is that the city is currently in the process of planning to build a new wastewater treatment facility for the community as well as operations on China Lake. Under the current guidelines of the NDAA, that facility is ineligible to apply for a DCIP grant. So what this request is through the Armed Services Committees to make the change in 2022 National Defense Authorization Act, make those amendments, so then we will be eligible to apply. The DCIP grant began in 2020 and 2021, started off with, I believe, $50 million in 20, $60 million in 21. We're hoping that they'll make this a multi-year program and they'll make the city eligible to apply for that. Any sort of funding between $1 million and $5 million would assist greatly in building the plant, and this amendment would go a long way in allowing us to apply for that grant. So with that, I'm requesting council to authorize the mayor to sign the letter, and then I'll forward it on through Capitol Corps to both Armed Services Committee as well as Congressman Obernolte and Congressman McCarthy.
Okay, thank you, sir. So we'll begin with council discussion. I'll give my 2 cents, which is this is a no-brainer. So I have very little else to say.
No, nothing.
Okay. No council comments. I believe that we're all in general consensus on this. Is there any public comment from the floor? Hearing any public comment on the phones? I see none. Continuing the efforts towards our wastewater treatment facility is a critical aspect of the future of this community, and thank you for your efforts in creating the letter. And do I have a motion? Actually, it's not even a motion, is it?
We just need direction.
It's just direction to staff, right?
Yep.
I believe we are unified in direction. Sign it and send it. Okay, next item is item number 7. Discussion regarding the board of the Indian Wells Valley Groundwater Authority. Mr. Heyman.
Thank you, Mayor. So the GA did meet last Wednesday. The meeting was an exceptionally short meeting, and so I do not have anything to really report out as per the meeting. But the big news is that the GSP was approved, and so that is a big hurdle and a major step forward for the GA. And that's all I have at this point.
If I can ask, how is outreach going with the letters? I mean, because I had another one of my employees come in today and say, Here, I got this in the mail. I finally opened it. Certified mail. What does it mean? How are we doing on that outreach side? Just curious if you've heard anything there.
As far as any actual
Just getting
outreach to
how the communication.
I
I
believe,
know it's the water district's issue. I'm just saying, are we
Yeah, I
hearing
mean-
that people are getting the information? They're not getting the information.
so I believe it's, the consensus that we can't give out any legal advice pertaining to advising, the parties on how to act. So, but I urge everybody to show up at the Water District's meeting, which I believe is going to be on the
26th, 26th.
26th, yes. And so, and hopefully answers to their questions can be, derived at that meeting. So that's all I have to add as far as any outreach.
I know that at the Water District meeting on the 12th, there was a suggestion made by a member of that board to have the council sit at that discussion as well. I know we've discussed it, and I don't believe that is the appropriate measure. I just want to make sure that the council is all on the same general page or not. You can.
If you're referring to the city council to sit at that same meeting where they're going to discuss the adjudication, no, I think that is the water district's litigation. It's their filing. It's their burden to inform the public.
I just wanted to address that it came up. It's been discussed. I appreciate that they were trying to put an olive branch out there to have the community have a chance to talk to everyone, but this is an adjudication workshop. That is the water district. We're going to keep ourselves continuing to talk with that board. Our communication lines are open. That's not the issue. It's just that there's a lot of he's and haws around the Brown Act and legalities that we're going to we'll be citizens in the audience maybe to ask questions or to talk or to listen, but that's where our role will.
You also have to remember is that the city of Ridgecrest is also a subject to that litigation since we are a pumper of the groundwater.
Yeah, I just wanted to address it.
It would not be wise for us to be sitting with the water district without our council present. I think it's just not in our interest.
Agreed.
Yeah, and even with council present, I don't think that's the role that the council should take on.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. I just wanted to make sure that I addressed it. It was brought up. I said I would ask questions. We asked questions, and it went, this is not the appropriate stage, but thank you to the Water District for that olive branch. Just want to make sure they know that the community hears those are being heard, listened, and responded.
Those people, those council members and the public that wish to attend certainly can
Absolutely.
attend and speak as public.
And the meeting will be here. Yeah, the meeting is at City Hall chambers. There just simply wouldn't be, beyond the fact that from a legal perspective, there should be boundaries here, and we all agree on that. There still wouldn't be enough room. This is their opportunity to speak, and they're using the facility as a courtesy, and we're good with that. Citizens, please join us on the 20. Please join them on the 26th, and I'm sure there'll be some council members there as well. Anything else from any other council members?
I got a comment.
We will. I just haven't called for public comment yet. Oh, Kyle, that was Kyle. Sorry, dude. I thought that was the phone line already sneaking through. Mr. Blades.
Well, it was going to be a question to Martin, and that is, Martin, is there any issue with there being, several of us council members there or asking questions at the podium?
Excellent question, Councilmember Blades, and I was going to get a memo out to you before that meeting starts. If more than 3 of you attend, you ought to participate as listeners, but not really as participants, because you do run a possibility of creating a meeting that isn't agendized.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, and the same comments, I was sort of echoing what Mayor Bruin had to say, is it recognized everything that was going on there. Actually, it was Mr. Griffin who brought it up because, hey, and the spirit in which he brought it up, I agreed with. His suggestion was, hey, the public is hearing 2 different things, and it's taking too long to get answers. one group or the other. Maybe it'd be a good time to all sit together and be on one page. I agree with it in that spirit. I would actually love nothing more than to sit. It's not legal, and so Martin, don't worry, I'm not suggesting it. But I would love nothing more than to have that, because there is a lot of, I don't want to say confusion. People who've been paying attention to this water thing seem to understand what's going on, but there's a larger amount of the public that I think could probably use almost like a town hall setting. But I think that is far away from now that we are all deep in litigation. So I have a lot more to say, but since I'm not there in person, it's hard to read the room or know that if I'm speaking very clearly, if you guys can hear me. So I'll just
You're speaking fantastically. Everyone's hearing you. Okie dokie, Kyle. So if you have anything you'd like to say, feel free. We're hearing you great.
Nope, I'm good. Thanks.
All right. Any other comments?
I'm glad GSP is approved, and I want to congratulate IWGA for a job well done. It's a hurdle, as you said, we crossed. So what is next for us? So I know, we are already working on this, but does this really make any changes, or?
No, we're continuing to move forward on all the various projects and the direction that we're currently heading. So, yeah. Other than that, it just was a big hurdle that everybody was waiting on, to finally get results on it, and for it to be approved was a big plus.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Hearing no other council comments, we'll go ahead and start with any public comment from the floor. No public comment we do have a phone comment. Caller, apologies. Caller, state your name.
This is Kathy Russell. That's me on the phone. I'm calling. I wanted to ask a question of Scott. If they actually haven't gone or participated in the GA meetings, I didn't know if they if they received an audit, if they approved a budget, and if they renewed the contract for the engineering company. I know that were proposed items. And also, where could a person find the approved GSP letter? Because somebody said it was about 45 pages long, and I was just wondering where that could be found.
So I'll kind of work backwards. I was searching for it today on the GA website, and I wasn't able to find it on the
DWR.
So right. I believe you have to go onto the DWR website and look for the. I believe it was approved basin.
It's on California Department of Water Resources. Just so everyone who is out there hears the acronym DWR, what that means.
What were you saying?
It was on there.
On the
Department of Water Resources.
Yes, it is on the Department of Water Resources. So I believe you have to research on that page. I don't have it. I'll try to look it up here in a minute and see if I can find the actual page. But if you go under, search up DWR and the approved basins, I believe it'll pop up. Now, the first question you asked, I did not quite comprehend. So if you could re-ask that question.
Status on budget and audits. Status on approved budgets and approved audits and any audit results. Basically, what's the status of the?
Well, I believe there was an audit pending of the GA that they were waiting for. Also, a budget approval, and I know about I was wondering about the contract that was up for renewal for the engineering contractors for the general manager and the administrative staff. I just wondered if those items had been discussed or they're like OBE.
Not to my knowledge, no. So we could, I can find that out for you.
Okay, I was just like I said, I didn't find anything in their website, so I was just asking. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Kathy. Do I have another caller? Doesn't look like it. We'll bring it back to the council. Is there any other discussion? No. We'll look forward to February's event. Again, congratulations on the approval and to the Water District, Apologize, we can't make that happen, but thank you for the invitation. Okay, next item is discussion item number 8. This is appointment of Measure V committee members. Rika?
Thank you, Mayor. It's time for the Measure V committee to start meeting again and working on the annual report. And so we have reached out to the committee members that served last year to see if any of them wanted to continue to serve. And we had 2, and that would be Chris Hill, who was appointed by Ms. Breeden and Mr. Maurer. And then Mr. Holloway, Chip Holloway, which was appointed by Mayor Bruin. So there was 3 appointments to be made, and I believe all 3 of them have appointments and nominations. So if we would like to start with Kyle, we can do that, and then we'll go to Mr. Rajaratnam and Mr. Blades.
No, you said Kyle
Yes,
twice.
thank you, Rika. Yes, Holly, I'd like to put forward Holly Ferris. I'm actually excited that she's involved and wants to be involved with the city in any shape or form. So I'm proud to put her name forward and hope the council will approve.
Mr. Rajaratnam?
I'm going to appoint Mr. Christian Aguirre. I think he is here, sitting in the back. So he's very excited to join the Measure V committee. Thank you very much for accepting to be on the committee and for your willingness to serve on this committee. I appreciate it.
And Mr. Heyman?
I'm happy to announce that John Harper will be appointed, and so John's been very active in the city, and particularly with youth sports, and has come before some of the other committees, and so I think he'll be a great member of the Measure V committee.
So I have received citizen service applications from everybody, and updated ones from the 2 that are continuing. So at this time, all we need to do is take a motion and take a roll call vote and approve the nominees.
Okay, do I have a motion for approval of the committee as presented?
So move.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, roll call.
Mayor Bruin?
Aye.
Mr. Blades?
Aye.
Mr. Rajaratnam?
Aye.
Mr. Heyman?
Aye.
Ms. Breeden?
Aye.
5 ayes, motion carries. And in case any of them are listening, I will just let you know that the secretary will be reaching out to you tomorrow or the first of next week with a welcome and contact information for everybody.
Who is the secretary?
Levette.
Ah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just double checking when you said the secretary.
Secretary of the committee.
Got it. Okay, next item is discussion item number 9. This is a resolution of the Ridgecrest City Council to appropriate a portion of the America Rescue Plan Act funds for a smart water system. Ms. Narissa.
Good evening, Council. So I have a little presentation that I put together, just kind of brief, highlight some of the benefits for the smart water system. This came in front of you guys at the council workshop. It's been to quality of life twice for discussion, and quality of life committee suggested I bring it forward to council. So this is just a recap of what you guys saw during the workshop. I went out and got a more current estimate, so the estimated project cost is located at the top for $24,610. There is a yearly fee that we would have to pay, which is $1,400 for a service plan. That allows them to be able to connect cellularly to the weather stations, which helps to control the smart water systems. I've listed the parks that this will be located at. Pearson Park, Upjohn Park, Freedom Park, and Leroy Jackson Sports Complex. The Crimagee Youth Sports Complex currently has a smart water system on it and has been operating for 3 to 4 months now. How smart water systems work is simple ET, so that's evapotranspiration. You can see the definition. It's basically the process by which the water is transferred from the soil to the atmosphere by evaporation and by transpiration from plants. So basically, based on the evapotranspiration, kind of helps to determine how long each station will run. So, for example, if it rains tomorrow and the water is supposed to go off, the system will tell it not to because there's already enough moisture in the ground. How we benefit from a smart water system, I've listed some. You guys can see water savings. We'll be able to detect problems faster, shut down the systems remotely. So if our maintenance staff aren't at work, but they get an alarm on their phone telling them that there's something wrong with the system, they can shut it down. It can be managed by multiple users anywhere. So anybody that's at home that has access to the system on our maintenance side would be able to control them. You can manage each zone with Flow Watch. There's alarms and warnings if there's a problem. So if the pressure is too high on one part of the system, or if there's a leak somewhere, it detects it. It'll alarm our staff, and then they'll be able to take care of the problem right away. So these are just some of the reasons that we would benefit from it. I can say that with the system that's been operating at the Kerr-McGee baseball fields, there's been a change. We used to have a lot of areas that would gather lots of water, get sloshy. We aren't seeing that anymore. Bob from baseball is here to actually speak to that since they use that facility all the time. So he came to show his support on this smart water system as well. So with that, if you guys have any questions.
I have one. This process that we would accept for the $1,400 a month, if something breaks, is that part of it, or is it just the monitoring of the system?
That's just the cellular service of the system.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
that's right.
Here.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
That was pretty, sorry, a month. Thank you.
If it was $1,400 a month, this conversation would be extended.
Yes, sorry.
No,
I
sorry.
knew that.
Here.
Oh, what the heck. Thank you.
Scott?
Nope, I don't have any other comments.
I have only one, which is for anybody out there who's watching on the YouTube, just look at item number 8, track water consumption monthly and yearly. The best way for us to be able to educate and be able to provide information to the public is by us first understanding our own water consumption and making every effort to manage it.
In the workshop, I think you mentioned the corner of Dennis also, I think. So is that included?
That one was not included. That was my mistake. Nick says that he feels that area is not necessary at this time. They seem to be doing okay with that. It's a smaller section, so I think that's why they're comfortable with not having it over there.
So right now we have a smart water system at Little League Field?
Correct.
Okay, so how is that working? So what is the experience? What is our experience with that?
So far, it seems to be doing well. I actually went out there myself to walk the fields and see. I didn't find any areas that were extremely wet like they were before. I mean, before when I walked out there, I would sink into the ground, and it's not like that. I also met with Bob, the president of the IWV Baseball, to ask him his opinion, and he said that he feels that they've seen some improvement since we've been using it.
Okay. So we are asking 24,610 from ARPA, right? Or
Correct.
are you asking the service?
Also for the first year of service, so that would be.
Okay, so it has to be more than 24,610 then, right? Plus the 1,400 or
Yes,
1,600,
yes.
whatever it is. Okay, thank you.
We'll go ahead and take it out to the public. Is there any public comment? And Bob, I certainly would.
I got some.
Oh, I'm sorry, Kyle. Sorry. I did not give my full. You're just not here, and I miss you.
Yeah, man. No, not a problem. I do have a quick question for Narissa, and this is just it's a pass along from the public. Somebody asked a good question. I don't have an answer for it, and that is it's good that we're doing this for our major parks and areas. Have we thought about, or is it possible to extend this to the medians?
We haven't thought about the medians. I'm sure that at some point we could if it was necessary. It's not something that we've discussed or thought about, though.
Okay, yeah, that wasn't to intentionally put you on the spot or anything. I'm just raising it. It's a concern. from the public, I think it's very valid. So maybe we could, I don't know. keep it
Mr.
in back of
Blades,
mind.
Mr. Reed just informed me that most of the medians are on a drip system. So I'm not sure how the smart water system would work with that.
Okay.
It'll probably work very similarly, but minimal value return for cost.
It's mainly for turf. The system is mainly designed for turf and not the drip system for bushes and stuff like that.
It's a good question, though. Anything else, Kyle?
That's all I got. Thank you for the work, Marissa.
Okay, and so then I will go ahead and I'll ask for any public comment. And Bob, I know Narissa pointed you out, so I'm going to ask you to come up and give us a citizen's perspective on whether the water actually got more intelligent or not.
I'm Bob Crane with IWV Youth Baseball. In the past years, every time the sprinkler system at Kerr-McGee Complex would come on, there would be severe flooding in the outfields. So much so, ankle deep in just about all areas of the grass. And that always resulted in runoff into the infield, so that when it came time for us to practice, we were always scrambling to have to redo our drills, play on certain parts of the field for safety concerns. And a few months ago, I noticed that we weren't having any problems with water standing, runoffs, or anything like that. And then that's where Robert, the maintenance guy, and Nick had told me they had switched over to this new system. And ever since then, it's alleviated the problem. We haven't had any standing water anywhere. And actually, the fescue that was planted on the large pony fields started to come in pretty good. And I think it's because of this new water system. Things aren't getting overly watered and flooded. But I think the best outcome that's resulted in this is there's no wasted water. And in today's environment, that's a very, very critical, part of any type of water management system. So it's firsthand knowledge, it's worked extremely well for the Kerr-McGee baseball complex. We've had no issues of standing or running water.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Any other public comment from the floor? Seeing none, do I have any public comment on the phones? Seeing none, we'll go ahead and bring it back to council for any final comments.
The only thing I'd like to say is thank you, because you often hear when something isn't working. And thank you for sharing with us when we know it is working, and how staff was able to help you and help the users of all of it. So that means a lot. Thank you.
For the first time, after we've had rain, the sprinklers have come on. Where in the past, we've had rain, and the very next hour or two, sprinklers were on. We did not have this problem.
I just had a quick question on, I think we had talked about this briefly in the past, as far as Wi-Fi and cellular and being able to transfer over to Wi-Fi if we needed to in the future. Is that?
Yes, so if we actually do transfer or end up with Wi-Fi at the parks, it can connect to the Wi-Fi, and then it won't be a yearly cost. So later on down the road, when we upgrade that at the parks, we won't have a yearly cost for these smart water systems.
So and that would be the $1,400 a year.
Correct.
So very good. Okay, thanks.
Solomon? So my last thing is thank you again for America's Rescue Plan for giving us yet another small win for our community, which is great. And Bob put it best, which is there's nobody on this dais that wants to get the phone call of the sprinklers going off right after a rainstorm. There's nothing worse for somebody who's in a public image. And so I'm thrilled to hear that and looking forward to not getting those calls. Thank you, Narissa. Do I have a motion for approval of the allocation as presented?
So moved.
Second.
The motion second, roll call.
Mayor Bruin,
Aye.
Mr. Blades,
Aye.
Mr. Rajratnam,
Aye.
Mr. Heyman,
Aye.
Ms. Breeden.
Aye.
5 ayes, motion carries.
Thanks, Narissa.
Thank you, Narissa. Okay, next is committee reports. We have 3 of our committees that met. You want me to do city org?
If you would talk about your particular project and
Sure.
I'll do the other one.
Sure. So my particular project is back in the first few months of my term, I met with different groups and talked about people. And one of the things that was brought as an idea was the build out of the Eastern Kern complex, or the Eastern Kern Community Complex, which is the intersections of currently East Las Flores and East French Avenue surrounding Petroglyph Park, Coso in between. That essentially makes up Petroglyph Park, Leroy Jackson Park, Leroy Jackson Sports Complex, the judicial buildings that exist right now, the public library, the museums, and what could we do to create a focal center that had a bus drop-off and brought the museums to focus and brought community eyes to it. And so part of that we've been working on in conversations at the county level and at the city level, and signs and this and that, and lots of good chatter. And one of the things that I put up was, what would be the process to change the name of a street? And this is specifically beginning with East Las Flores, which, as you know, starts at China Lake Boulevard and ends at French. So it has literally not even a football field. It's probably like,
4 addresses.
4 addresses, and it covers what, maybe, 1/16 of a mile or something like that? I mean, huh?
The 10th of a mile.
10th of a mile, there you go. And so the idea that if you made that civic drive going through the center of the area, and then you looked at potentially how you build all those pieces around it, and you create an atmosphere where somebody recognizes it. Balsam has tried to do this for years in terms of a downtown corridor. And this is very much around that area, especially with the judicial building that we're hoping to hear about next year and that process. And so we were looking at the area, and I asked for some feedback to come back on the idea of changing East Las Flores to Civic Drive. Now, since that time, I got another great suggestion, which, again, we're not pursuing right now, but it's in the conversation bucket, and I'll throw it out for the public, is changing East French from China Lake Boulevard to the high school to be Park Drive. It quite literally is along a park. 2 parks, 3 parks. I mean, it's Park Drive. And so that then you would be able to brand it as, meet us at the intersection of Civic and Park, meet us at Civic and Park, meet us at the East Kern Complex, meet us at the idea that you then can brand and promote the community in different ways. That conversation, we found it's not a really tenuous process. It's not a difficult process, and the recommendation out of City Org was to send it over to Planning Commission and have them take a bat at it and get some public input and opinions on it. So there's going to be a public input opportunity at the next not next Planning Commission, but the February Planning Commission. And then if they give the blessing, then it'll still come back to council for another discussion and bat around at this level. So that's the discussion that's happening, and we're still negotiating, with county and with other things. And the idea is, why should we not build out a beautiful Eastern Kern hub center in the center of our town? Because we are the hub of Eastern Kern, and let us be what we should be. So that's Civic Drive.
The other item on the agenda was the waste management and how we're going to deal with organic waste and how we're being required to deal more fully with organic waste. And there was a lot of misunderstanding among some of us, including me, is how do we deal with that? And as we get into the process even more, we're going to be able to have workshops and times when we can ask each other how we're going to do this and learn from how we should do it. And the idea that we may be able to, over time, to go from 2 times a month to 1 time a month service, and whether that's going to be something we will do or not, and something that you have the choice you can do, and we're going to hear more from Waste Management and our staff on that.
Yeah, just to give you a further update of where we're at on that. We are going to have our consultant, HF&H, here at the next council meeting, making a public presentation on the SB 1383 program, the organics rollout. We'll also have in front of you a resolution requesting a continuance for the implementation, which would give us time. We're looking at doing the rollout of the third can in January of 23. So we'll have a significant amount of information to you the next meeting. The following meeting, we're hoping to have the first reading of the amended ordinance in regards to SB 1383. We're hoping to have that done by the second meeting of March because we need that to qualify for a Cal Recycle Organics grant of about $39,000 that will assist us in public outreach for the rollout of this program over the next 6 to 7 months.
And we're targeting a rollout now a little bit further down the line, assuming that this
We
is
were initially looking at starting in June, but the reality was because of labor issues as well as supply issues, that in talking with Waste Management, the city, and the consultant, it became very obvious that the proper rollout would be is get everything in place, acquire all of the supplies, the cans, the lids, spend a significant more time on public education before we roll out in January 23.
of 23.
Correct.
So you left it out of the November election. I appreciate that.
That wasn't the intent.
I'm being sarcastic. I'm being sarcastic for the sake of the community. Organics is something nobody has a choice on. That's the biggest message I'm trying to get out to the public is this is not. We had those situations years ago. This is not. Hey, we want to implement this as a council immediately. This is. You've been told by the state of California. This is now state law of the implementation. I know everyone out there that says the state can't do this or that, but this is statewide, and we're on board making progress on it. And just wanted to.
Yeah, our goal is to have a rollout that is as smooth as it can possibly be, and basically shooting for June and July would have been a setup for failure.
Yeah.
It became pretty obvious when we started looking at the supply chain issues of acquiring the cans, the pails, and all the stuff that has to go with this. It just wouldn't have been fair to the community or our franchise contractor, Waste Management, to push that date.
I urge everyone to listen to this meeting that's coming up because as we were going through it, I didn't understand how I'm supposed to separate my trash. It isn't exactly a giant burden to bear, but it's important that we do it because we are being required, and that's what I want everybody to understand. It is the state telling us, you will do this, and all we can do is figure out how to do it best to support our needs and fulfill the needs and the costs that we are going to bear. And it isn't huge, but it is a cost.
That's all from City Org. Next was Finance Committee. We met on the 11th. Another great meeting. This is what I'd simply say to the community. Feel free to join us at any one of those finance meetings and let us show you our nerd out reports and let us show you our performance reports and where we're at. We got our final version of the annual comprehensive financial report, which once again the city was recognized for its accounting standards. The report is fantastic. If you ever really need a nap, grab one and read it. But there's so much in there, and in this meeting, our nerd out for this meeting was we asked for some historical look back at our general fund reserves over not the last 2 or 3 years, but I had them, Sheree, over the process went all the way back to 2006. And if you've ever been in a business model or in an environment like that where they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, well, I've got a picture for you. If you're interested in seeing it, drop me an email. I'll send it over to you from finance. But literally, you can see how our community was at the peak of 06 and 07, at the peak of what many people would say was an economic boom that the housing bubble had been creating, we were already sliding into recessionary incomes and general fund reserves that were far, far below what would be a good standard a long time ago. And then the crisis of 08 and 09 hit, and you could just see it. It was like a bottom out. And that's where I want to compliment it, because you can just see this huge bottom out and right about 2012. And then you can see, especially over the last 5 years, the effort that this council and the councils that preceded it had made in restoring general fund reserves. And it was an impressive sight if you're on a graph, remember, if this is one end and this is the other end, it's pretty dramatic, and the picture says 1,000 words. And so thank you, Cherie, for that. It was very eye-opening, and we gave her some other nerd work to do on property tax, future expectations, and where we're driving. I know our property tax first chunk came in. It was higher than we expected. Our sales tax remains higher than we expected. And we've got several other things that are moving. However, none of them will make up for one fire contract problem. That's the message I need everyone to hear. I'm sitting up here touting the greatness of our finances, and all I'm trying to say is, for the first time since 2006, we have a good reserve, but it is far from the solution, because we still have at least 3 substantial cost-based problems that have to resolve with the fire being the first. Anything else from finance?
I'll just add, too, that the TOT was up, and one of the things that come out of that meeting that looked really good was that when you look at the general budget over the last, say 3 years, and you take out Measure V funds, the general budget has been on a continual increase. So granted, it may not be enough to weather a huge financial burden, but the projection and the continual increase of that general budget, I have to compliment the finance and our city manager for all their hard work that they've been doing in these last many years, because it's showing in our budget. And so congratulations to all of you for your hard work.
Yeah, about the only other line item I can remember that was unique was Public Works continues to fail to spend their money, but that was about it. I'm just teasing that, guys. I'm saying that because if you look at the report, it looks like we didn't spend Measure V money last year, and guys, 2020 we couldn't. I mean, it was a mess. From the impacts on COVID on projects was a nightmare, and I just want to compliment, as part of that, the Public Works Department is absolutely running projects right now. I mean, like crazy. To get things done, and it's a compliment, because people go, well, you didn't spend the money. Yes, we had no way to spend the money, and we are redoubling our efforts right now because we can, and just a compliment to them.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, can I add one part of good news? Shree and the finance staff was notified today that they had received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from the Government Finance Officers Association. So Sheree got a nice little granite plaque that she can hang in her office, and want to thank her and her staff for doing a really good job over the last couple of years and helping us build our budget and make sure that it's understandable to the public. Yep. They've done a very good job.
Great, congratulations. Thank you, Sheree.
Good job.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And the best testament to that is when you have 2 finance people on your council and they're not grilling you, that's usually a good sign. So, excellent. Nothing else from finance? Economic development, you or Kyle?
Kyle, do you want to take it, or do you want me to do it?
Well, I'll throw out what I got. I got some notes here, and then if I miss something, please
Okay,
pick
go
up
ahead.
the ball. Okay. So the biggest thing I want to say is another kudos to our city staff. They're still working hard on trying to make sure they're recruiting businesses. They got a lot of leads they're still following up on. They're doing social media outreach to try and keep spurring the economy here. Even if it's little small gains, they're relentless, and I appreciate their not just their support but all their effort and their work. I guess, and then in summary, there's some of the main places that people are probably interested in. One of them, Chipotle. At least the latest word that we have from the city staff is March-April timeframe for Chipotle opening up. Dutch Brothers, probably March timeframe. Holiday Inn, April timeframe. But none of those are firmly in concrete because there is supply chain and inflation issues that we're butting up against. As far as new business that we discussed at Economic Development, we know there's another ICSC conference coming up. It'll probably be the same players unless other members of the council decide to raise their hand and they want to go as well. ICSC, I think we explained it before. It's a conference that's held in Vegas where we kind of go around and make sure we're talking to all these various businesses and companies to just to put Ridgecrest's name out there. See what's in the art of the possible. What can we do? What can't we do? And then if we're going to be rejected on why something can't come to Ridgecrest, what's the reason for that? We want to know. And so we stand there and get yeses, we get nos, we get maybes, and we collect a lot of data, and then that's that much more work for the staff to do. And it's a good thing that the staff is there, because if it was just council members, we would get the staff in a lot of trouble because we would promise a bunch of things that they probably couldn't, that are impossible. So I learned a lot this last ICSE, and I'm sure I'll learn more the next one. And that is all I have for this economic development. I didn't get a chance to chime in, Eric, on your finance committee. I just wanted to say that kudos to you, the committee, for doing a good job, and kudos to the staff, of course, Cherie. I mean, we can't give her enough accolades. Her and her whole staff doing amazing things. And I just want to make, because I'm watching now from YouTube, so I just want to get it across, because it didn't come across to me, that it isn't that the city of Ridgecrest is swimming in money. It's that the city of Ridgecrest is where it should be at this point. And if you are you're a voter, you're a citizen of Ridgecrest right now, hopefully what you're thinking is, oh, my local government is finally getting their act together and getting us where we should be, and that's what's happening. And I'm sure that, like Peggy, you've been on council for a while, and I'm sure it's probably pleasing and heartwarming to see things get where they're supposed to be. We have a great staff. We have a good city manager that's making sure it is. It's something I wanted to foot stomp, because when I was up in Sacramento, one of the biggest things that was pounded into our heads was, hey, if you don't have so much in your rainy day fund, you're setting your city up for failure. If you're not planning for the future, you're setting your city up for failure. And sure enough, we did plan for the future. COVID hit, and the city of Ridgecrest was able to weather some of that storm because of prior planning, in my opinion. So, all right, I'll get off my soapbox there, and I'll have a few comments during council comments.
Absolutely, sir.
We also talked about franchisee outreach, so I just want to cover that point. We talked about UPS, so they have 2 prospective spots, so they are looking into that. And that's the only franchisee outreach. We talked about Jersey Mike, so still in the initial stages, I think. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to add, Kai.
Okay. Next would be other committees, boards, or commissions. Anybody have any other meetings?
So I have Kerncog and City Selection Committee tomorrow in Bakersfield, so there'll be something for me to report out on that when next council meeting.
Okay. I know I had the pleasure of being with Mr. Janis and with several other people when the Eastern Current Economic Alliance visited last week here at Ridgecrest. Thank you to all of the people that came. It was a spirited, it was a good, fun discussion. I think we spent, honestly, about 3.5, 4 hours between lunch and talking, and we gave them some presentations. But what was really, as always, so good is we had a good free-form discussion, and the huge parts of those discussions about the impact of redistricting on relationships that we've built, as well as the Eastern Kern area. And just want to reiterate for everyone out there and anybody who knows, even though there may have been some decisions made in the redistricting that we don't agree with, we are thrilled to continue to focus on Eastern Kern's Economic Alliance as a geographical group, regardless of whether or not you're in one area's boundary or another area's boundary. We're all bound together in the area, regardless of however maps or lines are drawn. I gave you the whole spiel last time on redistricting, but the key is it was really nice to have a open, free-form conversation with them, and talking about what's happening in Ridgecrest and what's happening in other areas, and what we can see develop. So that was a lot of fun, and I don't have any other groups that I specifically know that we met here in January. I can't think of any. Next would be city manager report.
None at this time.
Future agenda items. No future agenda items. Mayor and council comments. Peg?
The only thing I would like to say is I want to thank staff and the people, my council, and the people in this community. I had a very serious illness in the month of December. I had a heart blockage and bled out on the table at the operating room, and I'm back. And to think that 3 months ago I couldn't walk from the front of this room to the back of the room, and now I can walk around the block. So my 85% blockage is done. I'm back, and I thank you all for your support, your kind words, and I couldn't have done it without staff and my council here, and I want to thank them personally. Great job, everybody, and thank you for keeping me abreast of what was going on when I couldn't. So thank you.
We're happy to have you too, because we almost didn't. So we're very happy to have you.
I'm very happy to be here.
Okay, that's all we're going to say, so we don't go into tears around here. Scott.
So I'd just like to back on the GSP document that it can be accessed on the Department of Water Resources Sigma portal, and it's under the Groundwater Sustainability Plan Assessments. So if you type that in, it'll come up and it'll give you a list of the GSPs, and then you just click on Indian Wells Valley. But so it's under Groundwater Sustainability Plan Assessments through the Department of Water Resources Sigma portal. That's all I have.
Solomon?
Just want to comment on last city council meeting discussion we had on water, on the various issues. I really want to thank Water District Chairman David Saint-Amand for reaching out with some answers. Not all of them, but I really appreciate him coming out and talking about one of the important things, which is the moratorium on new pumping. So he clarified that that is not their intention for the adjudication. So he explained that aspect, and he also went ahead and said he wants to meet with the community and the stakeholders and come up with an agreement, not going with the legal process, which is very expensive. So they're trying to reach out to the community. I really appreciate that. They want to be transparent, and I think I should say, in their view, in good faith, they think they are doing whatever is best for the community. So like the Groundwater Agency thinks in their good faith, they are doing whatever is in the best interest of the community. So I think everybody is doing their job. The goal is the same, but somewhere we have to meet and then work together and make this happen. So just wanted to make a comment on that.
Mr. Blaze?
Yeah, the first one is a little bit cheery. I'm looking up my text to make sure. It's that the sweeper contest names are all now plastered on the sweepers. So, and the winners are going to be photographed with their prospective sweepers tomorrow. So, just for people in the public to be on the lookout for that, you should be able to see the names, and then people will get photographed. That'll be good. And I guess my other comment I can reserve. I was going to say so. I watched the Water District meeting, and I think it is good they did at least address a lot of things that we said. And Mayor Bruin, I appreciated you calling in and making your presence known, and then we're all caring about the community. Because you're right, Solomon, we are all striving toward a goal, even if I don't agree with And this is my personal opinion, not the council's. Even if I don't agree with how they're going about it, that's quite all right. But I think that the 26th will be a good meeting, and I hope that there's a lot of public participation. And with the way it was ran, at least last time, I think it's good. You have staff up there just answering questions. You don't have any kind of personalities or electeds necessarily. Sometimes our personalities can get in the way, I'm sure. So I think that the public will get a lot of information that they're looking for, and hopefully people ask the right questions. And I believe that is all I have for the moment. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Kyle. I don't know who you're talking about whose personality gets in the way, but let me go ahead and...
Well, I know mine does. I know I can be a lot sometimes. But
I just wanted to give you your laugh since you're not around tonight. First and foremost, another great meeting. We're going to get out of here in an hour and like 20 minutes. This is incredibly short, just like some other ones, but it was efficient and lots of good information. I have a couple quick things. Number one, I still want to understand how it is that Kyle ended up with the Vegas trip, to ICSC. That's a question that needs to be answered one day.
That's the perk of being on the economic development.
Oh, that's the perk of it. Got it. Okay, just being sarcastic, because my perk is that I get to fly back to Washington D.C. I will not be here at the March 2nd council meeting. Mr. Heyman will be running that meeting for me. I will be in Washington D.C. And on a series of legislative advocacy trips. I want to reach out and compliment. I've already had conversations with the Congressman Obernolte staff and with Congressman McCarthy's staff. I'm looking forward to a good trip to talk and advocate on behalf of the many issues going on in our community. Kyle, thank you for once again reiterating the positive and the we all are saying the same things. We all are here because we love Ridgecrest. We all are in these roles and doing this because we love Ridgecrest. And to that end, reiterating Councilmember Roger Rotnam, David Santamon, thank you for reiterating that the word Armageddon was not meant to scare people. It was meant to highlight a substantial concern within the document, not meant to scare. I did offer an apology, and I apologize to the public if you took it as a scare tactic, not trying to be. But there are some serious things that have to be talked about, and they have to be talked about in terms that sometimes people understand. And sometimes saying that this is a really possible bad situation and highlighting it is just educating. It's not saying that the water district's bad or somebody else is bad. Nobody's saying that. I think we're actually all starting to emulate what I think I would hope was a lesson that I saw last night in this very chambers, which I had a chance to view the Lions Club student speaker competition, and this year's topic was how kindness can heal our nation. And I think that we can be an example as a community in how kindness, you don't always have to get along with the person, but you can still be kind to them. You can still show respect, and you can still show an acknowledgement that you may have a difference of opinion, but we can still be civil. We can still be good people to each other. And that's what Ridgecrest has always been, and I think that's what we will continue to be. And so just reiterating it, thank you to everyone who you're hearing saying there is communication, there is effort. Everyone out there who says that it's not happening, go back and listen to the Water District meeting. Go back and listen to our meeting. Go back and listen to what your elected officials are saying in terms of how they're trying to work together. Might be a little more truth in the video than in the words. The last one was I just wanted to congratulate Isabel and Megan. They're not here, but is Isabel here? Oh, hi Isabel. Sorry, didn't see them back there. We got to do our first TikTok. And I don't even have a TikTok account, but apparently now I've done a TikTok. And so tomorrow I'll be doing my second TikTok. And it's exciting, guys. Now, I want to address, for the citizens out there, then, what the heck is he worried about TikTok for? He's up there talking about TikTok and the state's taking me down one piece at a time. You know what it's about? It's about sharing. It's about communicating. It's about getting information out. I mean, how cool are the LED lights in the parking lot now in comparison to what they were before? How cool is it that our kids can use the Kerr-McGee ball fields in a proper way? How cool is it that we're already working on putting lights over at Pearson Park? How cool is it that we as a council are all working together and excited to be here and enjoying it? How cool is it that our staff shows up and smiles and enjoys and is excited about doing good things for our community? How cool is it that our police department continues to get the support from its community and defends our community in such a way that we can stand here and celebrate 32 years of service for one of our sergeants? There's a lot to be positive if you choose to be positive. I choose to be positive. Have a great day. Looking forward to seeing you in February, and have a good evening.